gate technician in the landing gear area noticed two males who appear to be Signal 7, as they are not moving in the landing gear area. The caller is refusing to go near patients to do CPR.
We know that the medical examiner has taken the bodies and that the Broward Sheriff's Office here in Fort Lauderdale are the ones that are handling this investigation. As you noted, that JetBlue flight landed here at Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport from New York City a little after 11 o'clock last night. Now, according to the airline, sometime after that, during a post-flight inspection of that aircraft, the two bodies were found in the wheel well of this aircraft. Now, the details surrounding just how the victims were able to access the aircraft out of New York City is still unclear at this hour. We're told that no one that was on this flight apparently knew what happened. The identities of these two victims have not been released. And this discovery comes just 2 weeks after a body was found on a United Airlines flight from Chicago to Maui. Now, the details surrounding that incident is still being investigated. Again, John, this morning, the Broward medical examiner has taken these two bodies. They are in the process of trying to identify them. The FAA is also investigating the incident, and of course, JetBlue is still trying to sort out the details, just how these two victims were able to access the wheel well of this aircraft.
I can share that the individuals who deceased are both males. Beyond that, their identities at this time are unknown. That is one of the questions that detectives are seeking to answer. Of course, if there's anyone who might have information regarding this incident and the circumstances leading up to it, Broward Sheriff's Office detectives would like to hear from them. Around 11:30 p.m. last night, Monday, January the 6th, Broward Sheriff's Office deputies here at the Aviation, the airport district, responded to a report of two individuals in the landing gear compartment of a JetBlue aircraft. Broward Sheriff Fire Rescue also responded, and on-scene paramedics pronounced those two individuals deceased. Broward Sheriff's Office Homicide Unit and Crime Scene units also responded to investigate the circumstances of this incident. That investigation is currently active and ongoing. Broward County Medical Examiner's Office will perform autopsies on the deceased individuals to try and determine the cause and manner of their deaths.
Absolutely. Before the first flight of the day, of course, the pilots are due to do the walk around from the aircraft, and before every flight, they're supposed to, do a shorter check of their aircraft, and of course, all of the checklists within the cockpit as well. And the bigger question is, of course, the reports say we're supposed to be on high alert for potential terrorism. Aviation is often the attack target of terroristic attacks, and yet the airport on the tarmac is supposed to be covered by surveillance. We're supposed to have camera coverage, and everyone on that tarmac is supposed to have a background check and supposed to be an airline employee who's documented and known. So the fact that this keeps happening and people who are not stowaways, the FAA did a report, and stowaways and wheel wells are not usually airport or airline employees, and yet this keeps happening. People are getting onto the airport property and getting into an aircraft, and it poses a huge security danger for the aircraft because these people were apparently just trying to get someplace, but it could have easily been someone attempting to attack aviation. Well, once again, the FAA has actually done a study. They haven't fixed the problem, but they've done a study. From about 1947 to 2020, the FAA documented 128 cases worldwide of wheel well stowaways. Now, over 75% died, and back when they did the study, the most likely country for a wheel well stowaway was Cuba. And the reasons were, of course, illegal immigration, or literally, in some cases, just wanting to go visit relatives, reconnect with a mom, reconnect with friends, etc. And of course, it's not likely airline or airport employees, because they know that a wheel well is a very dangerous place. You can get crushed, you can die from hypothermia. And the noise is horrendous. Even if you do survive, you might have long-term damage to any number of body parts. But the issue that this has been done, and now in the United States done repeatedly, is a huge concern for aviation safety and security. And of course, there's almost always a very sad result for the person attempting to do this. And by the way, almost all of them are male. and under 30. So obviously they realize it's a physical feat and they're going to have to crawl around the wheel well, but it is clearly an aviation security violation and a very serious one.
A mystery unfolding after a horrific discovery on the tarmac at Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport. The bodies of two men found in the landing gear of a JetBlue flight from JFK Airport. The question now, what were they doing there and how did they get there? Eyewitness News reporter Michelle Charlesworth with the story.
Flight crews on the ground doing a normal maintenance check found the men's bodies Monday night, soon after the JetBlue flight touched down in Fort Lauderdale, Hollywood from Kennedy.
Maybe Terminal 3, Gate Foxtrot 5 at JetBlue. Ian from JetBlue advising the gate technician in the landing gear area noticed two males who appear to be Signal 7, as they are not moving in the landing gear area. And fire rescues 48 and 51.
The men had died in the wheel well, tucked inside the small space where the landing gear under the wings folds up under the middle of the plane. Flight 1801 had taken off from JFK just before 8 p.m. and landed in Florida just after 11. No one on that plane had any notion that two men had stowed away outside underneath. Both men were pronounced dead by paramedics at the scene. Most stowaways die from hypothermia. Many have been crushed by retracting landing gear or have fallen to their death. This was a tragic incident, but this is also, air traffic experts explain, a matter of security.
This keeps happening. People are getting onto the airport property and getting into an aircraft, and it poses a huge security danger for the aircraft because these people were apparently just trying to get someplace. But it could have easily been someone attempting to attack aviation.
There is no information regarding when exactly the two men had gained access to the airplane or how long they had been in that wheel well. JetBlue offered a statement. This is a heartbreaking situation. We are committed to working closely with authorities to support their efforts to understand how this occurred.
The flight arrived at Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport around 11:30 Monday night from New York's JFK. Now investigators are looking at the plane's flight history, which started Monday in Kingston, Jamaica, then flew to JFK, Salt Lake City, and back to JFK before flying to Florida.
Detectives will be looking at all aspects contributing to the circumstances of this incident. Where did the plane come from? How long were the individuals on the plane?
It's not happened since in the 6 years that I've been here, but clearly it's been in the news recently at other airports.
Just last month, the body was discovered in the wheel well of a United Airlines flight that flew from Chicago to Maui on Christmas Eve. The opening, which stores a plane's retractable wheels, is about the size of a car's trunk, but is not pressurized like the rest of the plane, meaning stowaways risk extreme cold, oxygen deprivation, getting crushed by the wheels, or falling to the ground.
Once you're in, you're in. But that's also where it is the most difficult to find something even approaching a safe place.
Former NTSB Managing Director Peter Goals points to the latest FAA data, which says 80% of wheel well stowaways die.
I would not be surprised if we see a few more. These are high-profile events. People take it into their minds that they can get away with it, that they know a way to do it, and it will turn out poorly.
It started in Kingston, Jamaica, before flying to New York JFK, then Salt Lake City, back to New York, and ultimately to Fort Lauderdale.
A cruising altitude of 38,000 feet, a 2-hour, 43-minute flight, and below freezing temperatures before takeoff.
Obviously, there's no oxygen mask in the wheel well, so whether they would die from exposure first or the lack of oxygen first is a medical question.
That answer will come from the Broward County Medical Examiner's Office, according to law enforcement officials. Finding out the identities of the two men will also help decipher where they boarded the Airbus A320.
Pretty startling, actually. I don't know. I can't even imagine.
Aviation experts question how the flight crew, ground handlers, or pilots didn't discover the stowaways before pulling away from the gate.
Even if these guys were authorized to be on the ramp, the fact that they were able to stow away on an airplane and not be detected obviously presents a security risk.
In a statement, JetBlue tells CBS this is a heartbreaking situation and they're working closely with authorities to figure out how this happened. Alicia Reed, CBS News, New York.